We are continuing with our chapter solutions. So today we are continuing with the chapter. Last class we studied about solubility. Okay, applications of Henry's law. Today's class we are starting with applications of Henry's law. First point, to increase the solubility of carbon dioxide in soft drinks and soda water. So in soft drinks and soda water we are dissolving carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so for dissolving that gas, what is Henry's law? Solubility is directly proportional to partial pressure. Okay, so for the solubility of this gas, how much pressure we should give, that we can find out with the help of Henry's law. Okay, so the next one about scuba divers. Scuba divers. So scuba divers means they will dive into the sea. Okay, they will dive into the sea and they will go deep into the sea. They are called as scuba divers. Okay, so in the depth of the sea, okay, in the depth of the sea, the air pressure, okay, the pressure of the gases will be high. In the surface of the sea, okay, towards the surface of the sea, the pressure of the gases will be less. So towards the depth, the pressure of the gases will be high. Towards the surface, the pressure of the gases will be less. So when the scuba diver goes deep into the sea, what will happen? When he goes deep into the sea, because of more pressure, what will happen? The pressure in his blood also will increase. The pressure in his blood also will increase. So when the pressure in the blood increases, what will happen? All the gases will dissolve in the blood. Okay, and from the depth, when he comes to the surface, what will happen? Pressure is getting reduced. So that means what? Pressure is released. So in the soda bottle also, when we release the pressure, what will happen? All the gases which are dissolved will come outside. Yes or no? So when he goes deep into the sea, what will happen? Due to more pressure, all the gases will dissolve in his blood. But when he comes to the surface, all the dissolved gases, because of the less pressure, all the dissolved gases will come outside. So what will happen when all the dissolved gases comes out of his blood? Okay, there will be bubbles formed in his blood. So what will be formed in the blood? Nitrogen bubbles will be formed in the blood. This case is called as bends. So the formation of nitrogen bubbles in the blood, it is called as what? Bends. Okay, so to avoid this, what he should do is, the scuba diver, he should carry an oxygen tank. Okay, he should carry an oxygen tank, and that oxygen tank should contain little amount of helium gas. Little amount of helium gas. This helium gas will prevent the formation of nitrogen bubbles. Okay, it will not allow the nitrogen bubbles to form. Okay, so understood about scuba divers. Now we will write the notes for this. Write down. Underwater, due to increased pressure. In underwater, due to increased pressure, the gases, atmospheric gases will dissolve in the blood. Okay, this is the first point. Second point, when he comes to the surface, when the diver comes towards the surface, when and the diver comes towards the surface. Okay, so the pressure decreases and the dissolved gases are released. Dissolved gases are released. So when the dissolved gases are released, what will happen? So this results in the formation of nitrogen bubbles. Formation of nitrogen bubbles in blood. So this condition, it is called as bends. Okay, so to prevent this, the tank, oxygen tank carried, okay, are filled with air. This air will be diluted by helium. The air will be diluted by helium. Understood? So the next one, mountain climbers. We are going to study about mountain climbers. Now, if you take a mountain, okay, so this is high altitude. High altitude means what? The upper surface of the mountain. So this is my ground level. So this is my higher altitude. So in the ground level, what will happen? The pressure will be normal. The atmospheric pressure will be normal. And if a person is there, the pressure will be normal. His blood pressure will be normal. So in his blood, what will be present? Oxygen gas will be present in the normal pressure, when he is in the ground level. So when he climbs the mountain, what is happening when he climbs the mountain? Is going from the ground level to the higher altitude. So in the higher altitude, the pressure is less. In the higher altitude, the pressure is less. So in the normal ground level, the pressure is normal. So the oxygen is dissolved in the blood. Okay, but when he goes to the higher level, because of the low pressure, what will happen? The oxygen which is dissolved in the blood, it will come out. It will be released. So what will happen? It will be difficult for him to breathe. Okay, so the oxygen will come out, and what will happen? It will be difficult for him to think. He will be weak. Okay, this condition is called as anoxia. So what he should do? He should always carry a oxygen cylinder when he climbs the mountain. Okay, so now we will write the notes for this. At high altitudes, the partial pressure of oxygen. So in ground level, the oxygen pressure will be normal. Okay, but in the high altitude, the pressure of oxygen will be less. Okay, so what will happen when the person climbs? Okay, when the person goes to high altitudes. When the person goes to high altitude, okay, the oxygen concentration in blood will decrease. Okay, oxygen concentration in blood will decrease. So what will happen? He becomes weak. And unable to think. So he will face some confusion. He will feel weak. Okay. So this condition is called as what? Anoxia. This condition is Anoxia. Okay, so with this we are completing the solubility part fully. Okay, so the next part what I told you is vapor pressure. Vapor pressure. Have you seen pressure cooker and all? So in pressure cooker and all, how what will be there? So the cooker will be like this. Yes or no? So the cooker will be like this. Okay, and you will have the cooking stuff here. Okay, your dish or whatever it is. Okay, and the cooker lid will be very closely, tightly it will be closed. Yes or no? So when you heat it, what will happen? This liquid will change into vapor. Okay, will the vapor be able to escape? No, because the lid is tightly closed. Okay, so what will happen? The vapor cannot escape, so all the vapors will accumulate here and it will give pressure to the liquid. It will give pressure to the liquid. This pressure which is given by the vapor, that is called as vapor pressure. So understood what is vapor pressure? So this pressure is called as vapor pressure. So write down the definition for vapor pressure. The pressure exerted by the vapors of the liquid. The vapors of the liquid which is above the liquid. That pressure is called as vapor pressure. So in this 12th standard syllabus, we are going to study about the vapor pressure of liquid solutions. So we are going to study only about the vapor pressure of the liquid solutions. In liquid solution means the solvent will always be liquid. Okay. In liquid solution itself, we are taking the two cases. One is liquid in liquid solution. Liquid in liquid solution. The next one is solid in liquid solution. Solid in liquid solution. Liquid in liquid solution means the solute is also liquid, the solvent is also liquid. Solid in liquid solution means the solute is solid and the solvent is liquid. Okay. So in liquid solution, the solute and solvent both are liquids. Yes or no? So here both the solute and solvent will be volatile. Volatile means what? They can change into vapor. Okay. In solid and liquid solution, the solute is the solid. Yes or no? So the solute will be non-volatile. It will not change into vapor. Whereas the solvent will be volatile. Solvent will be volatile. So solvent is liquid, so it will change into vapor. Whereas the solute is a solid, it will not change into vapor. Understood? So these are the two conditions we are going to take. Okay. So the first we are going to study about the vapor pressure in liquid solutions. The vapor pressure in liquid solutions. Vapor pressure in liquid solutions. Okay, so we are going to take two liquids. How many liquids we are going to take? Two liquids. One liquid I am going to number it as 1 and another liquid I am going to number it as 2. Okay, so this liquid also will change into vapor and this liquid also will be changing into vapor. So for this first liquid P1 I am considering it as the partial pressure and for the second liquid I am going to consider P2 as the partial pressure. Okay. So this liquid also will change into vapor and it will give pressure. This liquid also will change into vapor and it will give pressure. So what will be my total pressure? So P total is the total vapor pressure. Okay, P total is the total vapor pressure given by both the liquids. Total vapor pressure given by both the liquids 1 and 2. Okay, now x1 and x2 I am taking it as the mole fraction of the liquids. Mole fractions of 1 and 2 I am going to take it as what? X1 and x2. Now based on this, a scientist called Raoult, he gave one law called as Raoult's law. So what was the law given by the scientist? Raoult's law. So what he gave is, if a solution contains two liquids, two volatile liquids, okay, so in a solution of two volatile liquids, so if a solution contains two volatile liquids, the partial pressure of each component, is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Directly proportional to its mole fraction. So that means what? So if the partial pressure of the each component, so partial pressure of the first component will be directly proportional to the mole fraction of the first component. Similarly, partial pressure of the second component will be directly proportional to mole fraction of the second component. So to remove the proportionality sign, what we will be doing? We will be adding a constant. So in this equation, I am removing the proportionality sign. The constant I am adding is P1 naught. Okay, so P1 is my partial pressure. What constant I am adding? P1 naught. Okay, into x1. So similarly here I am going to add P2 is equal to P2 naught into x2. Okay, so total vapor pressure. So both the liquids are changing into vapor and giving the vapor pressure. So what will be the total vapor pressure? Total vapor pressure will be equal to P1 plus P2. So P1 plus P2 means P1 naught x1 plus P2 naught x2. Okay, but we already know that in the mole fraction we studied x1 plus x2 is equal to 1. Like that we studied. So x1 we can write it as 1 minus x2. So instead of x1, if I substitute 1 minus x2, what will happen to this equation? So P total will be equal to, instead P1 naught, instead of x1 I am going to substitute 1 minus x2 plus P2 naught into x2. So multiply this P1 naught inside, I will get P total is equal to P1 naught into 1, P1 naught, minus P1 naught x2 plus P2 naught x2. So P total is equal to P1 naught, okay, x2 I can commonly take outside, yes or no? So plus x2 minus P1 naught plus P2 naught. So if I rearrange and write, I will get P total is equal to P1 naught plus x2 into P2 naught minus P1 naught. Understood? Clear? So this is the formula to calculate the total partial pressure. Okay, when the solution contains total vapor pressure when the solution contains two liquids, and if both the liquids are changing into vapors. Understood? So still more information are there that we will continue in the next class. Okay, thank you.